Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now February 21st of 2020, and a lot of fans have been very curious about what could have been before the reshoots and the rewrites of Episode 9 by Disney and Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, J.J. Abrams, you name it. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that we do know about Episode 9 is that this was a very tough production for Disney and Lucasfilm. There's no doubt about that because J.J. Abrams talked about this, Bob Iger, Kathleen Kennedy, Mary Ann Brandon, who, by the way, is the editor of this Star Wars movie, and among many others, such as the actresses and the actors on board for Episode 9. Now, when we examine everything that actually happened behind the scenes for The Rise of Skywalker, we do know that this movie had a lot of difficult situations because of Kathleen Kennedy and her involvement, and basically her intruding into what J.J. Abrams was initially going to do with the Star Wars universe in order to close the Skywalker saga by using a lot of Colin Trevorrow's ideas as well as his own for the Star Wars franchise. Now, on top of all of this, we do know that Disney and Lucasfilm are looking ahead to the future with their new Star Wars trilogy, their new Star Wars universe in general that's going to consist of TV shows, comics, books, novels, video games, and so on and so forth. But when we look at The Rise of Skywalker, it really does make one wonder exactly what this movie would have been like before the reshoots and the rewrites of this movie in late 2018, leading all the way into 2019 just last year. Now, on top of all of this, now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with The Rise of Skywalker and the entire sequel trilogy, they are looking forward to their new Star Wars universe. However, many fans have been very curious about what could have been by Disney and Lucasfilm for The Rise of Skywalker before the reshoots and the rewrites of the movie by Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams. Now, it's explained that one of the deleted scenes from the film had to do with both characters of Palpatine and Supreme Leader Snoke that also involved Kylo Ren and Rey. It's noted that the scene actually dealt with a sequence in which both Rey and Kylo Ren will be using a new Force ability called flow walking, which would allow them to witness aspects of the past before The Force Awakens in the forms of visions. It's noted that this sequence was going to include both Rey and Kylo Ren witnessing Palpatine creating the clones of Supreme Leader Snoke on the world of Exegol and even encountering the original Snoke creature that was killed by Palpatine before the cloning process started. The scene was said to be very brief, where Palpatine had a far different design with longer hair, colored white, confronting Snoke in a black robe on Exegol, and striking him down on the ancient throne in the middle of the crowd of the Sith Eternal, watching the slaughter of Snoke from Palpatine. It's explained that this scene was partially filmed before the first phase of reshoots, and that it was also going to include the Dark Acolyte to be seen in the movie at one point in the form of a vision for both Rey and Kylo Ren, in which J.J. Abrams had filmed sometime before 2019. The sequence was said to be very dark and gritty and would even reveal the Dark Acolyte being trained by Palpatine before Rey and Kylo Ren's eyes. It's noted that the vision of the past would progress to a scene in which Palpatine would reward the Dark Acolyte with a lightsaber with Palpatine now in his throne that once belonged to the Snoke creature that lived on the world of Exegol. Matt Smith was also said to have filmed scenes for this sometime during September of 2018 as the Dark Acolyte in the forms of visions. So the thing that's so inspiring about this is that they were going to use a Force ability called flow walking. Now, let me fill you in on this in case you guys are not familiar with the old EU. Now, in Star Wars Legends, there was a little thing that Jason Solo, the original version of Ben Solo, used. This was actually a thing called flow walking. He was able to interact with the past, but could not change the events of the future, basically. And it's a very interesting Force power because you're able to literally go into the past, but you can't change the actual, future of Star Wars in the galaxy. Now, this particular scene was going to involve both Rey and Kylo Ren using such an ability by holding both a Jedi and Sith holocron, going throughout space and time, and witnessing these visions of Palpatine striking down the original Snoke creature before the cloning process, and even featuring elements of the Dark Acolyte being rewarded with a red lightsaber by the hands of Palpatine. Now, to me, I think that Matt Smith would have been brilliant in the Star Wars universe. It's very unfortunate that he did not make the final cut of the movie. That was a major change of the movie, by the way, is that originally Palpatine's spirit was going to be used to take over the actual body of the Dark Acolyte. Meanwhile, the older version of Palpatine was only going to be used in flashbacks, visions, or holograms, and not actually alive in real time. So that was only until the later, reshoots, the second phase of reshoots, where they changed a lot of this. So when you look at the Dark Acolyte, portrayed by Matt Smith, and even how Snoke was going to confront Palpatine in the form of this vision, it really does make one wonder exactly what can we expect to see in the novelization coming out this March, and new comics, books, and novels that are going to further explain the Snoke creature, the original one before the clones, as well as Palpatine. Now, does this necessarily mean that that throne belonged to the Snoke creature, or could it very well have been stolen by the Snoke creature beforehand? We'll have to wait and see until the novel arrives this March. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.